Just as the world was finally breathing easy after years of pandemic anxiety, a familiar ghost has knocked on our doors yet again. The World Health Organization has just declared a global health emergency. The culprit this time, it is the Ebola virus. As of mid-May 2026, a deadly outbreak is happening. It's happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo and has crossed over into Uganda. The numbers are rising very quickly. Look at this. 240 suspected active cases and 80 plus reported mortalities. 80 deaths have already been recorded. The big question on everybody's mind is that, are we looking at another COVID-like disaster? Will this again lead to a global economic crash? And what does this mean for India? Hello all, welcome to ARK Reflections IAS. This is me, Yogiraj. Let us all look at the facts first without any panic. First, let us understand what we are dealing with. Ebola is not a new virus. It is not like COVID that we saw just around 2019. No. It was discovered 50 years ago in 1976 near the Ebola river in Africa. On the screen, you can see this term called as zoonotic. What does this mean? It basically means that it is a disease that jumps from animals to humans, usually started from an infected fruit bat or monkeys. Alright, Ebola is old, but here is why in 2026 the outbreak is causing sleepless nights to many people and especially at the WHO. But this time it is caused by the new strain, that is the Bundibugyo variant or strain. A strain is basically a specific version or type of virus. Just like the variants we saw, new strains or variants every few months during the COVID. This particular strain has not been seen for over 10 years, and here is the catch. We have absolutely no vaccine and no approved treatment for it. And the current stockpiles of Ebola vaccines do not work against this particular type of virus. So what does this virus do to a human body? Initially, it hides behind every ordinary symptom that we see in flu. Symptoms like cough, symptoms like sore throat, symptoms like body pain and fatigue also. But within days, it takes a very violent turn. It attacks the immune system and it also attacks vital organs such as the kidneys and liver. Eventually, it causes a very severe hemorrhage in the patient, and this is where the patient's health severely deteriorates and the patient starts bleeding from their gums, they start bleeding from their nose, and they also start having blood vomitings, and it also causes multiple organ failure. And the death rate, you know how much it is? The death rate is 50%. Nearly half of the people infected with this particular strain do not survive. Okay, now let's address the biggest fear. Can it spread like COVID-19? The short answer is no, and here is why. The reason why it can't spread like COVID-19, because COVID-19 is an airborne virus. It spreads through air even when people talk or cough or even breathe. Ebola does not spread like that. Ebola only spreads through direct contact, especially with body fluids of an infected person. It can be body fluids like blood or saliva or vomit or even sweat. So if you do not touch these fluids, you do not catch the virus. This makes it very different from COVID and also very different from the recent hantavirus as well, in which humans usually catch it from the urine or droppings of infected rodents and not from human to human contact. So why has the WHO declared a particular type of alarm called as the public health emergency of international concern? See, this is the WHO's highest level of alarm and it is an international warning system to make countries work together. The alarm was raised because the spread of virus happened from remote villages of Africa into crowded mining villages and towns and the major urban cities like Goma and Kampala, which is the capital of Uganda. And Kampala also has an international airport, so imagine if an infected person boards a flight, then the infection from one part of the world can spread into another part of the world in a matter of few hours. Now let us look at this comparison. The comparison is between COVID-19, hantavirus and Ebola. Now this will be basis the transmission way, the mortality velocity and the prevention status. Three of them are peculiar in their own ways. While the COVID-19 has high transmission velocity, the transmission velocity is very high, but the mortality is very low. But when it comes to Ebola, the transmission is slow, but the mortality is extremely high. So we are looking at a 50% fatality rate with zero variant vaccines. This is why we cannot treat it like just another local African outbreak. What happens if we do not take preventive actions right now? See, for India, the immediate risk is low to moderate, but we cannot afford to be casual. If the imported cases slip by, imagine if that happens. If they slip by through our airports via international travelers, it could trigger local clusters. Our health systems, though much stronger than COVID because of our experiences, still we are not in a position of handling a virus with 50% mortality rate. The Indian government must activate strict airport screening and isolation protocols immediately for travelers coming from East Africa. On a global level, the timing of this outbreak is absolutely terrible. See, the world economy has barely recovered from the supply chain shocks and the inflation caused by COVID-19. Yes, we all agree on that. But if this Ebola spreads out and if this spirals out of control in African transport hubs, we could see regional lockdowns, we could see restricted flight access, we could see disrupted trade, and we could see a lot of problems for India. See, Africa is a major hub of critical minerals. Any shutdown there will send shock waves through global supply chain markets, and it will also hit our electronics industry, it will also hit our manufacturing industries, and this impact will be seen worldwide. Now, the question is, how do we stay safe? See, the solution to people, especially living in Africa right now, is sterilization, rapid contact tracking, and safe funeral protocols. See, practices which involve the traditional practices which involve touching of the deceased, such things should be avoided because they often act as super spreader events, something which we saw during the COVID. And for the rest of the world, basic hygiene, strict border surveillance, and global funding to help Africa eradicate this particular problem is of utmost importance. See, the world has changed after COVID. The world is not the same after COVID. We are wiser, we have the tools, but the WHO's emergency declaration is not a reason to panic. It is a directive to act before history repeats itself. Think about it. And before you leave, I would like to inform you that those of you who are writing their UPSC in the years 2027 or 2028, ARK Reflections IAS is launching a full prelims cum mains comprehensive GS foundation course. Here, each and every subject will be taught in absolute depth, starting from absolute basics. When your foundations are strong, that is when your preparation is solid. Call us at this number, that is 9000 4000 55, and our team will be happy to assist you. Thank you for watching. This is me, Yogiraj. Jai Hind.